Good afternoon, you're watching News Always On. I'm Kessyl. The European Union Commission is expected to impose a $5 billion fine against Google over its Android mobile operating system. Investigators say that the company has been forcing mobile home manufacturers to pre-install its app and services, and sometimes pay them not to install competing systems. Here is more. Google has violated the EU antitrust laws, specifically by forcing manufacturers of Android phones to install the Google Search app and the Chrome web browser. Commissioner Margrethe Vestager said in a statement, quote, "Google has used Android as a vehicle to cement the dominance of its search engine. These practices have denied rivals the chance to innovate and compete on the merits." However, Google says that Android has created more choice for everyone, not less. Quote, "A vibrant ecosystem, rapid innovation, and lower prices are classic hallmarks of a robust competition." Just last year, the European Commission fined Google $2.72 billion for antitrust violations, after they found that Google was using its search engine to improperly promote its shopping service. According to a Bloomberg report, the new fine today sets a world record for such antitrust penalties. Google will be given 90 days to stop what the EU say were illegal practices, and if Google doesn't change its business practices, the cost could grow even higher. The European Commission also says the large fine is appropriate because of the duration and gravity of the antitrust violations. According to an NPR report, about 80% of smart devices in Europe run on Android. Although it's not illegal to dominate a market, the European Commissioner says companies aren't supposed to abuse their powerful market position by restricting competition. Google licenses its Android operating system to third-party phone manufacturers. The EU says the issue is that Google requires Android device makers to pre-install the Google Search and browser apps on practically all devices sold in Europe. And in the past, the company used financial incentives to further encourage pre-installation, making it harder for other search apps to compete. Google has prohibited companies that make Android devices from making and selling any other devices that run Android forks. That gives Google too much power over competition between different operating systems. The EU said in 2016, the tech giant has a market share of more than 90% for general internet search, licensed smart mobile operating systems, and app stores for Android software. According to NPR, Google plans to appeal the decision. In one of his most high-profile appearances since leaving the White House, former President Barack Obama celebrates the legacy of Nelson Mandela yesterday in South Africa. And of course, he used his humor to voice his opinions on President Trump's comment at the meeting with the Russian president. He said, quote, "We see the utter loss of shame among political leaders where they are caught in a lie, and they just double down and they lie some more." Here is his speech.
President Barack Obama! But given the strange and uncertain times that we are in, and they are strange, and they are uncertain, with each day's news cycles bringing more head-spinning and disturbing headlines, I thought maybe it would be useful to step back for a moment and try to get some perspective. We have a better story to tell. The free press is under attack. Censorship and state control of media is on the rise. Social media, once seen as a mechanism to promote knowledge and understanding and solidarity, has proved to be just as effective promoting hatred and paranoia and propaganda and conspiracy theories.
Of that inspiration, that hope, and
people just make stuff up. They just make stuff up. We see it in the growth of state-sponsored propaganda. We see it in internet-driven fabrications. We see it in the blurring of lines between news and entertainment. We see the utter loss of shame among political leaders where they're caught in a lie and they just double down and they lie some more. It used to, look, let me say, politicians have always lied, but it used to be if you caught them lying, they'd be like, oh man. Now they just keep on lying. They just... People must learn to hate. And if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart. Love comes more naturally to the human heart. Let's remember that truth. Let's see it as our North Star. Let's be joyful in our struggle to make that truth manifest here on earth so that 100 years from now, future generations will look back and say, they kept the march going. That's why we live under new banners of freedom. Thank you very much, South Africa. Thank you. Thank you so much.
For 3 decades, the abduction, rape, and murder of 8-year-old April Tinsley in April 1988 had frustrated Indiana investigators. The mysterious killer's taunting messages admitting to the crime, scrawled on a barn door and on paper notes threatening to kill again, only added to the desire to solve the cold case. Still, no suspect could be found. But thanks to advances in genealogy and DNA technology, the suspected killer was arrested and then confessed to the crime on Sunday. That's more than 30 years after April's death. According to Allen County Court's website, John Miller was preliminarily charged with murder, child molesting, and criminal confinement of a victim under the age of 14. The Fort Wayne girl's body was found in a ditch 3 days after her April 1988 abduction, about 20 miles away. Investigators say that when police arrived on Sunday at Miller's home, they asked him if he knew why they were there, and he answered, April Tinsley, before admitting to a killing. April's mother, Janet Tinsley, said over the years that she had feared that an arrest would never come. She said, quote, right now I'm numb. I can't believe it's finally here. Here is more.
30 years. 30 years this family has waited for answers. And on Sunday, we were able to give them some of those answers. Hopefully now they can start to have some closure. Our thoughts and prayers continue to be with the Tinsley family.
Telling us 30 years on this case.
I know somewhere up there there's a little girl dancing with her angels. She's celebrating. So when you get on your knees tonight and you talk to her in your dreams and prayers, tell her they did it. They did it and we got them.
Morning, everyone. My name is Jim Kessyl, and I'm the Supervisory Special Agent. Today is a big win for law enforcement, and this investigation illustrates the dogged determination of the investigators who never wavered, never gave up, and kept moving forward for the last 30 years.
What was the immediate thing that went through your mind?
This case has affected our entire community. We have received much support from this community, and I would like to thank everyone for that. And I would also like to again thank the media, our local media, national media. Every time we wanted something put out, information, photos, you did it. You didn't ask questions. You did it. So thank you.
First, I'd like to say to April's family that no one ever gave up hope that this day would come, that an arrest would be made in April's senseless death and begin to bring some closure for you. Second,
I think I can say that everybody involved had always hoped this day would come. This is not we've had other older cases where we either had a suspect that we couldn't find or we needed to find a suspect that have been found or solved in the last 10 or 15 years. And I think we always hold out hope that we're going to solve every case.
The immediate emotion you had, the immediate thing you said to yourself when all of a sudden the dots apparently connected and resulted in this arrest.
That is all the time we have for now, but again, here's a fun fact. The legs of an ant are very strong and they can run really quickly. If a man could run as fast for his size as an ant can, he could run as fast as a racehorse. And ants can also lift 20 times their own body weight. For News Always On, I'm Kessyl, and I'll see you at 4 in the afternoon.